at the beginning of... It's good laughter yoga. You know of this thing, yeah, laughter yoga.
You need something.
This is Conor McGreevy. How are you?
Not bad.
You're a councillor, the youngest councillor up there on the hill. You'll shortly be going, well, you have to go over to Downpatrick to sit in the near future, will you, when the thing changes?
That's up in the air.
Is it up in the air still?
It's still up in the air, yeah.
We can't allow the city of Newry to hand over its seat of governance to the town of Downpatrick. That's not...
I don't believe that's going to be the case, Rowan, but I say it's still up in the air. These things have to be all thrashed out. Downpatrick obviously has a lovely new office building there.
Yeah, but clothes don't maketh the man.
That's the point. And
you will be making that point, no doubt.
Yeah, well, I think we need a new building ourselves, a new administration building, and it should be in Newry.
Should be in Newry. That's good to hear that to begin with. What sort of year has it been? Looking back on your year in politics. By the way, just to balance here, so that I've got a chip on both shoulders. Connaire is here from the SDLP, and Andy Moffat is due to arrive at 10 o'clock. For the Unionists, and Andy, it's now 10:10, so I'm sure it's maybe Bestbrook time he's operating to, or he's encountered flooding or whatever else.
It could be, yeah. I mean, it's been a busy night, I suppose.
You've been out looking around.
I've been out and about throughout the night there. I was out just in around 10:30 to about 11:15 last night. I was out again at 4 or 5 this morning just to check how things were. Thankfully, everything is fairly okay. There's a few bits and pieces of people concerned, so I've made them calls. So maybe that's what Andy's at too.
I would say so, because Andy, like yourself, Andy is at the senior end of the spectrum, but he has the same good heart that McGreevy has. That's my estimation.
He's absolutely, he's one of the most committed councillors I know.
Absolutely. No, he's a good man, and I've known him a long time. He has many children. I once described him as, I think he's a free Presbyterian with a Catholic appetite for family. He will laugh about that, and always has laughed about that.
He tells that one himself now.
He does, I'd say he does. I've known Andy a long time, so we look forward to him coming through the door and sitting down and being mic'd up. I wanted to talk to you. This year, I am unashamedly going out on a one-man campaign. Where it goes, I have no idea. But it's about this. Take hospice funding and crisis. They're synonymous as words, as phrases. They're there. Hospice funding, I see these dark, dank photographs of people who are, they're on the ropes about funding from hospice, saying we are in crisis. It's been all through this year, it's been all through last year. Good people are out on the streets collecting all the time. John Dalzell out collecting over the Christmas. The government is taking us for granted when the health service requires us to be well looked after when we need hospice. And if hospice wasn't there, as John McCardle said this morning, they would need to open 2 or 3 new wards in Daisy Hill in order to take the people who are now in hospice. Why are we not getting a greater level of funding from central government for hospice? You are a politician. Why are you not making it happen?
Well, I think, first of all, maybe let's frame this whole thing. Crisis, I think maybe is the wrong word to use.
It's been used time and time again.
I personally wouldn't like to use it myself, because the hospice does a fantastic job and it does raise money. 3.4 million is their expenditure every year. They raise 70% of that through fundraising, and 30% of it comes through the Department of Health.
It's disgraceful.
And that's disgraceful. I'd agree with that. It should be more. But again, let's look at the fundraising side too. There are over 300 volunteers across the southern area. There's fundraising officers. There's volunteers, to say, within businesses trying to collect money. There's people doing sterling work for them, and that has to be credited, first of all, before we start saying anything negative. But should the Department of Health do more? Absolutely. 100% should do more. We need to increase the funding from them. £1 million a year is not enough, because they are relying heavily upon the donations of you, I, and the good community. You've mentioned John Dalzell there. There's Gina's Cottage. There's many others. There's the tractor events, the Besbrook boys out there too.
These are the very, very best of human beings out there doing what's necessary.
Yeah.
But my point is, they shouldn't have to do it. It shouldn't be dependent on the fluctuations of public support or non-support. What we need, as you now agree, is for central government to take it seriously.
Central government absolutely needs to take it seriously. And I would agree wholeheartedly that we need to increase the funding. I'm not sure whether 100% funding of a hospice would be the right course of action, and I'll tell you why. The reason for that would be that we would lose the control and ability of the hospice to maybe to expand the services, because we would have almost dictator-like ministers perhaps coming on board saying, no, you're not doing this.
I understand that.
Yeah, so we need to make sure that it is still
that we
community-based.
safeguard, that we ring-fence the independence of hospice.
I believe so. But let's increase from 30% funding up to maybe 80% funding or something similar to that. And that maybe is what the campaign
The other
should
thing
be
to
about.
say is that people are coming from North Leinster into the hospice.
Well, look,
From across the border. Should the government in Dublin not be giving money into hospice?
Ron, the people are coming from outside even the southern area. It's a southern area hospice, but they're coming from the Down District Council area too. It has such a wide catchment area. And the reality is that transforming your care that Minister Poots signed off upon is changing how we deliver our care services. Believe it or not, only 20% of what the hospice does is actually inpatient care. The rest of it's out in the community services. It's up in the hospital. It's all the part of end of life care services. And it's crucial to us. And we really do need to
Respites in there as well.
All the rest of it. I mean, people always say it's cancer and it's just up in the hill up there. That's not right. 30% of it's cancer. You know, they deal with AIDS, they deal with MS, motor neuron. There's other care services they could be looking at too. Alzheimer's, dementia, all the rest, they could be adding to that. And TYC, the Transforming Your Care document, wants more of what the hospice actually do. So it's absolutely right and proper that you say they should step up and fund it more.
You have a tsunami of knowledge there that's coming out, and thank God for it, because it tells me you're out of the starting blocks. Now, all of the things that you want to see being done at hospice, they're being inhibited to some extent at the moment, by the preoccupation of the hospice administration with having to raise the funds. And it is a constant sword of Damocles hanging over their heads, Connaire. So where does the buck stop in terms of saying, I will give you more money? Does it stop in Stormont with Poots? I don't think it does. Or does it come from across the water? I'm not sure.
Well, I think we have health devolved here in Northern Ireland.
It's devolved, so it's Poots.
It's Poots. We have Poots and the Department of Health, who I honestly have attacked over the last couple of years over Daisy Hill and other places, because what this TYC is doing is changing our healthcare, and it is removing funds from the community, even though it says within that document that it wants to have people getting their end-of-life service in their home, right? And that's what's happening out there. It's happening right across Southern area, Dungannon, Armagh, all the rest of it. So the buck does stop at Poots. Poots has to come up and say, right, I am going to put more money into this service because that's what I want, and the hospice provides that service.
Next question, Connaire, and I'm not attacking here. I'm seeking a way forward here.
Yeah.
In the last year, I would put money, maybe only a fiver, on that I have not heard one call from Daisy Hill council offices for Poots to put more 80% money into hospice. If you're not even asking him to do it, how is he going to form the opinion that he should do it?
Well, I would say, maybe it's not publicly been said, but we have a health committee that meets every 2 months up in council, and it has been said. We've had the TYC consultation documents, and we said
TYC?
Transforming Your Care, sorry.
Yes.
So we've had them consultation events, we've had our responses to it, and we've said that you have to fund this. It's all well and good to say we want more care services delivered in the home, we want more hospice-like services, but if you don't fund it, it can't happen. 70% of the staff for the hospice are direct care. 20% of them, again a further 20% are supporting that direct care, and only 10% are governance and fundraising. Yet it's the other side, it's the flip side of what you see all the time out there. The 10% are the ones that are out there trying to get the money in, trying to raise that threshold 2.2 million. It's a lot of money. So we need to, as I said, you need to get from 30% funding up to maybe an 80%.
Maybe an 80%.
Maybe 80%. I'm only throwing that out there.
So what's the timeline for this? Now, I've admired you for your youthfulness, for your vigour, for your vision. I've admired you for your good heart, and there are others like you in the council.
Yeah.
So what is the council timeline for turning for turning the screws on Poots?
Well, I have a letter off to Minister Poots as of yesterday, asking for funding to be enhanced to the hospice services. And I've been looking at the Northern Ireland Hospice, which is the Belfast Hospice essentially. By name they call themselves Northern Ireland Hospice, and how they're getting funded. And I actually have talked to my party colleague, Councillor Pat Convery in Belfast, where the motion came through that council to fund £250,000 over the next 2 financial periods to the Northern Ireland Hospice. So I'm now...
Is your man getting that as additional money to what was already there? £250,000?
It is.
A year for 2 years?
For 2 years. It's unique money too, because it's to do with the renovation or the enhancement of a building, so it's capital sort of money, which is a wee bit different to the revenue, what we're talking about, 3.4 million to try and run the hospice. So we need to see what's available to us. I've got the letter off to Minister Poots, see what comes back from that.
Yeah.
And I'm absolutely 100% behind your campaign on this. We need to change how the funding model works.
Well, I'm going to keep talking about it, writing about it, broadcasting about it. And when it does come back, the letter, would you be kind enough to keep us in the loop?
Absolutely, that's no problem at all. Yeah, I mean, we need to change this model. We need to get more funding to it. The whole fabric out there, communities changed too. We all know about it, the recession. The pound doesn't stretch as far anymore in the local shops. So people are stressed. People haven't got that same money. There's other and equally important competing charities that also require money, and we have to make sure they're funded too. So we need to change how that core health is funded.
I think you're absolutely right, because as we stand here, you've articulated at the beginning of 2014 a certain fiscal reality in relation to charitable fundraising. There's less and less and less money around.
That's right.
And if it continues in the way it is, the hospice's ability to deliver excellence will be impinged upon.
It will be, I've no doubt, but that we have good people up there who are managing a good board that is being strategic. They have a new 5-year strategic plan out for 2014 to 2019. They've already committed themselves to trying to find 2% savings, efficiency savings every single year within that plan. And it's right too that on this, actually the 25th year of the hospice being founded, that you launch this campaign, and that the people up there launched their own strategic plan too.
We'll find a way to bring this forward with some meaning. For instance, Dominic, who was in here with me a week ago, your MLA there.
Yeah.
What's he doing about it? Has he talked to Poots? You don't know. But maybe there should be a small hospice subgroup which would focus and exclusively deal with increasing the hospice funding.
Yeah, well, Rowan, a little over 6 months ago, I organised a visit for Dominic Bradley MLA, Karen McKevitt MLA, and our former health spokesperson, Colin McDevitt, who was an MLA at the time, down to the hospice, came down, we went round the service, we spoke to some of the inpatients too, and to listen to the care that they receive, what was good. Connell took that back to the health committee at that stage.
Instalment.
To talk about the funding model, because the staff outlined to us at that meeting the necessity about the transforming your care document and the change in all that, them structures, the integrated care partnerships and how that's changing. They've got to link up more with like the South Down Family Health Initiative and all the rest to deliver these services. So that all came back to the Stormont Health Committee, and I do know that there's work going on there at that level too.
So foundations are in?
Foundations are in six months ago.
Yeah, well done.
But these things take time to come through.
Have you any idea at all what Minister Poots said then, or is saying now, about what seems to you and me to be self-evidently ultra correct, that there should be 80% funding at least? What is Poots thinking about it? What's his argument? Is he saying, look, I don't have any money?
I think that's all I'm hearing personally from right across the Stormont executive. There's cuts, and it's bury your head in the sand attitude, and it's not good enough. To be honest with you, I mean, we've seen the whole care homes too, and what happened there already in our Southern Trust area.
Boom, go.
You're gone.
You're
That's
gone.
it.
You don't have a roof over your head. This ain't your home. I know you've been here for 20 years, but you're now going somewhere else.
Keyword, home.
Home.
That's a keyword. So
the
Southern Trust, the statutory care is being removed. That's how I see it. And I have, as I said, been maybe critical and I think rightly so, of the Health Service, Department of Health. And I will continue my quest to highlight the issues. But let's go back to what we're talking about here, the hospice and the core function that they do. How do we rebalance their books? How do we get more money into them that isn't drawn down from the charity donations? Because it isn't there anymore.
Yeah.
You know?
So will you not let go of this?
No. This is a quest. I'm joining you on your campaign.
Thank you.
And credit to you, Rowan, for taking it on.
In a year's time, we'll do a review here, and you and I will be meeting during the year to see how we can take it further.
I may not be a counsellor at that stage.
Oh, you may not be, but you still have the same heart.
I still have the same heart.
Enthusiasm.
I'm still joining the campaign.
And if you can, we have asked Minister Poots to come in here, and we haven't had him in. If you have any influence there, we're continuing. Sarah, who runs the programme with me, is banging on the door of the minister, saying, Minister Poots, come in here. We want to know the reasons why you're only giving 30% funding to hospice. We're interested. We want to be educated. We want you to tell us. Maybe it's right that you should only be giving 30%. You tell us why it's right and allow us to debate it with you. It's a simple enough question.
Simple question. Why not?
Why not? Why not? Right, you've had a good new year then. Did you celebrate?
Yes, went to Carlingford.
Wow, that sure is a celebration, I tell you. Carlingford's
nice.
Changed a lot, I find. It's mostly hen parties these days. Oh, I'm sorry, Carlingford, for saying that, or whatever these people do. But did you stay away, or did you just go for the day?
We stayed.
Where did you stay?
In the Harbour Cottages.
Ah, those are nice.
Yeah,
they're lovely there.
So did us.
Yeah.
Myself and 7 friends.
Isn't that lovely?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What else do you do? I mean, New Year's Eve.
Do what I do. You get out of bed. You get into bed early and catch up on sleep lost because of this program.
It's an early start for you every morning.
Constantly is, but that's what I was made for.
Yeah.
I could do nothing else. It's a very odd thing. I tuned in to my old alma mater this morning, Good Morning Ulster, on BBC Radio Ulster, and there was Connaire, the man I appointed to that post in Radio Ulster, Connaire Bradford, and there he was presenting and doing the way there. But when I was the editor of Good Morning Ulster, it was an early stint as well.
Yeah.
You were in at 6 o'clock, not later than 6 o'clock. And very often you were in before that, 5:30, because the starting times varied over the years. So in a funny kind of way, my entire existence up to this moment has been preparing me for the joy of working with Destination Newry, which is bringing the Newry message to a great waiting wide world out there.
Yeah,
and that's how it should be.
Going from strength to strength.
It seems that way, and we're delighted. We have you coming to us, councillors coming to us, MLAs coming to us, ministers coming to us, Mr. Poots will come, and we all of that kind of thing is happening, and we have a good message to put out there, and that's what we'll continue to do.
A good message, just maybe before I leave, good message is that there's £80,000 of dereliction money coming back into the district.
What is dereliction money?
Buildings out in our communities that are falling down around themselves.
Wow.
One of the key examples of that was the Osborne Hotel.
You did it, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean that was good. So there's £80,000 more coming again.
It's 80,000 quid coming in.
It's good.
It's good news.
Any money coming in the district has to be welcome. Rowan, Happy New Year.
Thank you. Go well. Take care.
too.
Music, maestro.